Welcome back to AW Stories. At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to some creatures. Orcs resemble humans, but are much stronger than them. Among them, there is an orc named Durotan. Through his perspective, we learn that a tribe of orcs is being wiped out by magic, and many lives are lost because of this. To survive, they must move to a new place. We also meet Durotan's pregnant wife, and they are both worried about their child's future due to the current circumstances. The orcs gather at a meeting spot, where we are introduced to their leader, Gul'dan, who possesses powerful magical abilities. Using his powers, Gul'dan forces the orcs to serve him. Next, we see a girl who is part human and part orc. Gul'dan has captured her because she refuses to join him in his evil plans, making her a morally good orc. Gul'dan has other captives as well. Garona pleads with Gul'dan to release them. This is when we realize that Gul'dan plans to sacrifice his prisoners because the magic he uses requires numerous sacrifices. He offers their souls to the film magic. In return, the magic opens a massive portal, allowing the orcs to enter another world through it. Gul'dan takes half of his tribe with him as the portal starts closing. As a result, half of the orcs remain in their world. Meanwhile, Durotan's wife begins to experience pain. Witnessing this, his companion gets angry, questioning why Durotan brought his wife in such a state. Soon after, a baby is born, but the child is lifeless. Gul'dan uses his dark magic to transfer the soul of a deer into the baby, reviving it. Later, we are introduced to King and Commander Luther. They receive a message from a place called Stormwind, stating that Stormwind has been attacked and its king has summoned Luther. Following this, Commander Luther travels to Stormwind and encounters a magician there. Luther mistakes him for an enemy and captures him. As he was near several dead bodies, Luther demands to know who the magician is and why he is there. The magician explains that a great danger is approaching. He insists he is not their enemy, but rather their ally. Luther, still skeptical, asks what danger he is referring to. The magician responds that he was inspecting the bodies to discover the threat. Luther allows him to continue his examination, and as he does, green smoke rises from one of the corpses. The king becomes alarmed and insists they must notify the king immediately. Together, they head to meet Stormwind's king. Upon hearing their report, the king asks Luther to bring a specific man, Stormwind's guardian, who also possesses magical abilities. Luther and the magician set off to find the guardian, explaining everything to him. He is informed that the king has summoned him to the palace. The guardian then uses his magical powers to instantly leave the location. Upon their arrival at the palace, the king of Stormwind is delighted to see the guardian. He explains the entire situation and asks for help. The guardian proposes they investigate the spot where the magician discovered the dead bodies, suggesting they might uncover something there. Together with a few soldiers, they head to the location, but they are attacked by orcs. The orcs ruthlessly begin slaughtering Luther's army. In response, Luther activates his magical powers. The orcs corrupted by the film magic are all killed, while those unaffected remain unharmed. The guardians, now empowered by their magic, decide to return to their city. Durotan's ally attacks Luther, but in the ensuing battle, Luther manages to sever the hand of Durotan's companion, forcing him to flee. Seeing this, Durotan runs away as well. He then spots Garona chained up and frees her. However, the magician captures her, using his magic. Luther and the magician are now transporting Garona to the king, imprisoning her once again. The king questions Garona, asking who she is and how she arrived. She responds, stating that they aren't from this world and have come to conquer it because their own planet is dying. After hearing this, the king turns to Garona for help, realizing that she dislikes her own people and has distanced herself from them. Meanwhile, Durotan's ally is about to be executed by Gul'dan for failing to defeat the humans. Gul'dan demands that the ally sacrifice his soul to enhance the power of fel magic. Unable to let his friend die, Durotan intervenes. Gul'dan becomes furious, but Durotan tries to reason with him, saying that the true enemy isn't within their tribe, but from outside, urging Gul'dan to spare his people. Gul'dan finally agrees and pardons Durotan's ally. However, Gul'dan warns that more sacrifices are necessary to fuel the Fel magic and commands the orcs to capture more victims. The following day, Durotan discusses the dire situation with his companion. He reveals that both Gul'dan's magic and Fel magic are the cause of their troubles. If Gul'dan's reign isn't stopped, everyone in Stormwind will perish. Durotan suggests they must act against him, but his friend argues that they lack the strength to confront Gul'dan. The following day, the king readies Garona for her mission. A queen hands her a special knife, telling her it will aid her in a tough situation. Garona then arrives at her tribe, accompanied by the magician. Durotan notices them, but refrains from attacking. He speaks to the magician, expressing his desire to strike a deal with the king, and requests a meeting at the Black Mountain. The next day, the king travels with his army to the Black Mountain to meet Durotan. They begin formulating a plan to eliminate Gul'dan. Gul'dan's followers, however, spy on them and launch an attack on the king's forces. The Guardian steps up, using his magic to create a barrier between the humans and orcs. Meanwhile, the king's son is left stranded on the orc side of the wall, unable to reach his people due to its strength. Durotan's ally kills him before the king can rescue him. Desperate, the king attempts to reach his son but cannot cross the wall. Garona and the magician, chasing after the Guardian, make their way up the mountain. They find the Guardian, weakened from overuse of magic. The magician lifts him, gazing into his eyes, only to discover they have turned green, tainted by Fel magic, signaling his impending corruption. The magician and Garona take him to a magical bridge where they lay him down. Afterward, Garona leaves. Seeking more knowledge about magic, the magician starts reading books, but then notices someone there. The person reveals that the Guardian is the one who used magic to bring Gul'dan here, allowing orcs to enter the city. The magician tells Luther about this, and Luther begins to doubt the Guardian. Meanwhile, Durotan's companion kills Durotan and his men for betraying the orcs by aiding the humans. However, Durotan's friend helps his wife escape to protect their child's life. On the way, Gul'dan's ally captures her. In a desperate move, Durotan's wife places her baby in a basket, letting it float in the water. A fight breaks out between her and the orc, and both end up killing each other. The Guardian advises the king to attack the orcs, suggesting it will lead to their demise. However, Luther cautions the king against taking such action, as the king is grieving the loss of his son. Despite this, the king declares war. The Guardian, however, chooses not to join the battle, instead heading to his city with an excuse. Meanwhile, Durotan challenges Gul'dan to a duel, proclaiming that the victor will become the new leader of their tribe. The two engage in a fierce fight. At the same time, the Guardian begins using film magic, which causes the portal to open once more. But Durotan and Gul'dan remain absorbed in their battle. Gul'dan notices the Guardian's progress and realizes he is on the verge of fully opening the portal with his magic. He deceives Durotan during their fight, betraying him and sacrificing his soul to fuel the film magic. Shortly after, the king's army arrives, and a battle erupts between humans and orcs. Luther tells the magician that they must stop the king to improve the situation. The magician responds, suggesting that they must first stop the Guardian, preventing him from aiding Gul'dan in opening the portal. Meanwhile, Gul'dan successfully opens the portal, allowing the remaining orcs, who hadn't entered before, to invade this world. Luther and the magician confront the Guardian, defeating him after a battle. This halts the Guardian's magic, causing the portal to close. As a result, the orcs can no longer enter. Before dying, the Guardian performs a final good deed by opening another portal for those imprisoned by the orcs, allowing them to return home. Witnessing this, the king orders his soldiers to escort the prisoners to Stormwind. The soldiers comply, ensuring the safe delivery of all prisoners. However, orcs have already killed many people. In response, the king tells Garona to kill him before the orcs do, so that they will respect her on his death. This would make her a symbol of peace between humans and orcs. Garona never intended to do this, but soon realizes it is necessary to restore balance. Reluctantly, she kills the king with a knife given to her by the queen. As the orcs witness this, they escort her to Gul'dan, who is impressed by her actions and praises her. When Luther arrives, He sees the king's body with the knife and quickly deduces that Garona is responsible. Luther picks up the king's body and begins to move, but he's confronted by one of Durotan's companions, whom he kills. Luther then makes his way to the Stormwind Palace with the king's body. The queen holds a funeral for the king and declares war on the orcs, naming Luther as the new leader. Meanwhile, someone discovers Durotan's son, and the movie ends here. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to dive into more movie twists, hidden meanings, and epic storylines, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. We cover everything from mind-bending thrillers to emotional dramas. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, leave a like. It really helps the channel grow and reach more movie lovers like you. Got thoughts or theories? Drop them in the comments below. Thanks a ton for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.